So to start off with the demonstrations, here's Jeremy Bartley, and he'll talk about web mapping.
All right, thanks a lot, Sud. Very excited to be here. Glad everyone's here. So I'm going to talk about web maps and how they're the foundation for the platform, like Sud said. And a lot of you already know this. You've been building great maps like this example of from the Alaska Department of Environmental Information, looking at drinking water protection areas. You know, it's about real data, solving real problems, and communicating that in an effective way. Or this is a Lithuanian election results. This is a beautiful map, I think, and also has beautiful information pop-ups to tell you a lot of, to glean a lot of information from the elections that happened. Here's something a little more fun. This is a time-enabled web map that looks at breweries and brew pubs of Oregon. And it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. It's time to go start drinking, I think. So there's, lots of different ways to build this map, and you can add so many disparate sources of information. First it all starts with the base maps. We want to pick one of the base maps that are available from the platform. And something new that we just rolled out in the March release of Online is some authoritative data from ESRI. So this is ESRI map layers that we put together, whether it be things like congressional districts, NDVI, some economic and demographic information, both in the US and in Germany. And these are some pretty interesting data layers, and I'll focus in on that. This is USA alcoholic beverage spending, and this is a multi-scale map, both at the state, then down to the county, and then down to the block group, and so on. Lots of information available to you that are just ready to use, come complete with pop-ups, ready to go. Another platform service that you can use is traffic. So this is current live traffic from the US and in Europe that you can pull into your map and then just use. Now, it's not just about services and layers that we provide into the system to help you create these maps, but you can also add lots of information from your content, whether you're sketching directly on the map via map notes, or whether you're loading information from a file, like a shape file or CSV or GPX file even. But then it's also accessing information that's out on the web, whether it be an ArcGIS server service, OGC WMS or WMTS services, KML documents, GRSS, which is a new feature of this March release, and CSVs that are just sitting on a web server. Now, last one I want to point out, because I think it's really cool, is a tile layer. Now, a tile layer is a way to pull in tiles into your web map that don't come from a service. You can just think of them as tiles sitting on some web server. And a good example of that is the MapQuest OSM tiles. So they've republished the OSM data through MapQuest, and they want you to use this in your application. So I see the URL for a typical tile for this MapQuest service. And basically, we just need to templatize that URL. Pull in the subdomain, the level, the row, the column as templated attributes, and then we'll do the rest for you under the hood. Let me copy in the subdomains for this guy. Oops. And give it a title. Say I want to use it as the base map. Now, an important part about using this is you must give credit where credit is due. So they have very particular guidelines about the terms of use, and that this little HTML here should be used and displayed. So let's paste that in and add this layer. So there, we just swapped out the topographic map for the MapQuest tiled layer. I've got the attribution down here at the bottom, and then I can just use this web map in my application. Now I'm going to save it. Now we can, this web map can combine so many disparate sources of information, but it can be used across the entire platform, whether it be in a native application or a web application. So we have these web application templates, which are a way for you to publish a very focused view of your web map. We have about 20 or so different templates that you can choose from, and it's literally just a different way to experience this web map without the rest of the context of all of the authoring that's in the basic map viewer. So what is this behind this web map? What powers it? Let's paste it in and just take a look at it from a developer's perspective. So what we've added here, we're looking at the JSON view of that web map. There's the base map layer. This is the templated URL that I just added, the subdomains that I provided, the copyright that I added in, and this is the traffic service, this map service that I'm pulling in. So this JSON is a publicly documented specification for you if you want to look into building your own web maps. It's very powerful. It's simple JSON. Can be opened up in numerous clients, both within ArcGIS and in the broader community. Now, one last new feature of the March release that I think is really exciting is working with ArcGIS Server dynamic map services that support dynamic layers. So this gives you the ability to override the renderer on the server as a client. And we pulled that into the web map for this release. And this is from the city of Ames, Iowa. Ben and the rest of the GIS group there has kindly put this service together. And they've really done a beautiful job. So if I pull up on this service and take a look at some of the data behind it, I'll see that there's 15,000 features in this data set. This data set is also updated all the time via a feature service. So think about that. It's updated all the time. It's 15,000 features. That's too many features to draw on the client in an acceptable way. And it's also, because it's updated frequently, it's not amenable to being cached all the time. So this is really when you want to use the power of ArcGIS Server Map Service to generate dynamic maps in real time. And because they have all of this great information, you can easily pull this. There's lots of different ways you'd want to view this data set. Because it supports dynamic layers, I can go in and change the symbol, do something like the diameter at the base height, and apply that and get the view of that map. So I can see the older trees, or the bigger trees, I should say, are in the older parts of town. Or I assume never been to Ames. But the last thing I want to point out is that not only can you change this renderer and get a different view, but you can also filter, slice and dice this data. So if I open up the filter, and let's look up recommended maintenance, and let's say I want to find all the critical concerns, I can apply that filter. It's automatically applied to this web map. I can save it, I can view it in my application, I can use it. So in review, web maps are an integral part of the platform. They combine lots of disparate sources of information.